Hey guys, it's me Nick, and welcome back to another FilmBrony podcast. And this is episode eight of the FilmBrony podcast. I am, of course, your host Nick, and joining with me is the guy that created the podcast. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, this is Boython Productions, also known as FilmBrony, and welcome to episode 8 of the FilmBrony Podcast, where we express how sad it is that two guys still in college have a better idea of how to let me start over. And welcome to the to episode 8 of the FilmBrony Podcast, where we express how sad it is that two guys still in college have a better idea of how to release movies than multiple studios in Hollywood.
Yeah, yeah. And I was supposed to go to college. I was supposed to go to my class this week, but my mom didn't like film me in on that, so I'm not going until spring.
Yeah, all my classes this semester are online, so I guess I'm here to stay longer than I anticipated, unless they actually release movie theaters here in New York, which they still haven't, by the way.
Right. Um, there is one thing though. I am going to see Christopher Nolan's Tenet on September 1st in Woodbridge, and I cannot wait.
Me either. Although I'll just say it right now, if movie theaters don't if movie theaters here do not open in time for me to see them on the big screen as Christopher Nolan intends, I guess I'll have no choice but to see it online in order to catch you guys up on the review. I mean, I'll still rewatch it in the theaters the first nanosecond they reopen. But in terms of seeing it as soon as possible to get a review for you guys, I guess the internet's the only option for now.
Yeah, yeah, that'll probably be the same thing for me too until well, it might be like the second choice for me, but as of right now, I'm seeing it in Woodbridge and theaters on September 1st. So
You're one lucky son of a gun, aren't you?
yeah, yeah, I am because well, where I'm living right now, some of my movie theaters are opening back up, and even though there are still some idiots out there who still think that this whole pandemic thing is like a hoax, even though it's 100% real.
Yeah, it's real. And even though I personally think it's a bit ridiculous to shut down everything, I still consider COVID-19 to be a real thing.
Same. which is why whenever I like go outside or to go someplace, this is why I wear some mask and gloves on my hands. So face mask and gloves. You get the point.
Yeah, I put on a face mask too. Unlike some idiots here in America that refuse to put on a mask just because of their rights.
what a dork.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks.
This sucks more than anything in the history of sucking.
Yeah, really. All right. We're gonna get on with the show. I know we're almost like five minutes in. So as usual, FilmBrony is gonna be like showing off his Blu-ray. So go ahead.
All right. As always, I have a ton of Blu-rays I bought, so I'm just gonna rapid fire through them. Okay, first up is the poor man's version of Apocalypto, 10,000 BC.
Oh my God.
It was about idolatry, okay?
Oh, okay. Okay.
N-
I'm not a fan of Roland Emmerich though, so
Next is one of the best movies of last year, 1917.
I also own that film. In fact, here it is. One of the best movies I saw last year, without a doubt.
Next, I have a double feature, Anchorman 1 and 2.
Nice.
Next is Bad Lieutenant 2. Oh, and two other movies, I guess.
Nice.
Next is The Beguiled.
That was a great movie. I also own that film.
The Big Short.
Another great movie. And this is an example of yes, while the premise is familiar to some of the other like movies that tackle on Wall Street, how Adam McKay did it, I thought was unique.
Black Swan.
Great movie, one of the best of 2010.
The Blade Trilogy.
Nice.
Next I have a digibook, Bonnie and Clyde.
Sweet. Classic.
Carrie, the original Carrie from the 70s.
Nice.
Creed.
Great movie.
The Favorite.
This was ironically my favorite movie of 2018, so
The movie that beats. Oh.
Speaking of which, here it is right here. Yep.
The movie that beats Citizen Kane, How Green Is My Valley.
Yeah. I love that movie. I really do like that movie, but Citizen Kane's a better film.
Son of Kong, the original King Kong sequel.
Nice.
The Man with No Name trilogy.
Sweet.
Molly's Game.
I love that movie. Aaron Sorkin did a great job with this movie being his first in the director's chair. He did a great job.
The Motorcycle Diaries.
Great movie.
Next is Robin Williams' best performance, 1 Hour Photo.
That's my second favorite. That's my second favorite, only behind Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting's my second favorite, ironically enough.
Ironically.
Paddington 2.
Another great movie, and I also own that.
Next is a box set, and I won this in my first eBay bet, actually. The Quentin Tarantino collection.
Nice!
Oh, and by the way, this box set only contains the first one of the two parts of Grindhouse Death Proof, so I kind of went ahead and fixed that.
I see. Nice.
The Shape of Water.
One of the best movies I saw from 2017. In fact, I also have this movie right here. Yeah, it was a great movie. I love Guillermo del Toro, and I cannot wait to see what he does next. I know he's got that Pinocchio movie coming up, which I'm very excited for, but I'm also very excited for Nightmare Alley coming up soon. So
next is a double feature, The Squid and the Whale and Running with Scissors.
Sweet. The Squid and the Whale was a great movie. It's still my favorite of Noah Baumbach's movies. I know a lot of people say Marriage Story, and Marriage Story is a great movie too. That's my second favorite.
Next, I have a Steelbook, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Nice, a classic.
And last but not least, UHF.
Sweet. Weird Al Yankovic. Love that guy.
Can't go wrong with him.
Nope.
And those are all my Blu-rays. And now then, we got some ton of movie reviews to go over.
Yeah.
So my first review is actually the recent adaptation of The Invisible Man from 2020.
I loved this movie. It was one of the best. Like, it's one of the best horror films I've come out to come out in the new decade. Like, it's still. Lee Winnell did an incredible job with this.
Mm-hmm. And much like most of Universal's modern monster films, this could have been like a cheap, idiotic horror film that was so blatant at setting up this new cinematic universe, like Dracula Untold or The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Lee Winnell delivered a suspenseful drama with stellar special effects and cinematography, as well as a smart protagonist and villain that keep each other guessing. And Elizabeth Moss, give her an Oscar already.
Seriously, she was terrific in this movie. This is the best performance I've seen from an actress this year so far.
So this is hands down the biggest surprise of 2020 so far, and I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I was originally going to give this a 9 due to how kind of dragged on the ending 20 minutes were, but the more I thought about it, the more no spoilers, the more it actually made sense in terms of the protagonist's character arc.
I also give it a 10 out of 10 because, like, originally it was a 9.5 out of 10. Like FilmBrony right here. Originally it was a 9.5 out of 10, but the more I thought about this movie, the more I just can't help but just love this movie too. It's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece.
It is, and so far my second favorite movie of this year. What is my favorite movie of this year? I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but so far my favorite movie of this year is The Hunt.
I also saw The Hunt. I'll delve into my quickie review of it after he's done. So.
Okay, so the best way I can describe it is it's if The Most Dangerous Game was written by the Matt Stone and Trey Park and the crew of South Park. With its, and I thought the writing and commentary was so extraordinary, commentating on the state of the political biasness and satire of both the leftists and the rightists of America. And I thought the action and kills were top-notch and just brutal. The soundtrack is phenomenal, and the performances, especially from Billy Gilpin and Hilary Swank, are fantastic. Since they know how to balance between the seriousness of being forced into the titular brutal hunt and the caricatures of this respective political agendas. So I will say that this movie isn't really for everyone. Those who can stand its brutal commentaries should totally give this movie a shot and see what it's worth. And, personally, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Nice. So far, my favorite movie of the year.
Sweet.
So what do you have to say about it?
All right, so The Hunt. I didn't love this movie as much as you did. Like, granted, there were some jokes that were a bit on the nose for me. I get why they were there, but it felt a bit on the nose to me. Also, some of the side characters I felt were kind of underdeveloped, and another thing too. While I did like Ike Barinholtz, Emma Roberts, and Justin Hartley in the film, I felt they were a bit underused.
Mm-hmm.
I felt they were a bit underused in the film, but other than that, I really like this movie a lot. The story had me invested. The script was very good since it does a great job, like being a political satire while at the same time telling a thrilling and interesting story. The directing was very good. The Like I said, the acting was great, especially from Betty Gilpin. She was phenomenal in this movie, and her character is probably one of the most. And this is one of the most likable performances I've seen from an actress this year. And her character, I felt, was very well developed. You understand why she's like this. The soundtrack is great. The cinematography was great. The editing was very good. Most of the jokes land, and the ending, no spoilers, had me just dying of laughter. So yeah, overall, it does a great job of being a political satire while at the same time being entertaining and thrilling. 8 out of 10.
Nice. And the next review, we're about to go to the opposite side of the fence, aren't we? We're going from one of the smartest political satires of the year to one of the dumbest and most cliched sci-fi film of this year so far.
Oh boy, I got a lot to talk about with this one.
Vin Diesel's Bloodshot.
Oh my God.
Bloodshot is a textbook example of how not to make a sci-fi action movie.
No, and it's based on the comic books by Valiant Comics, and this is Sony's attempt to like make a cinematic universe off of this, and I have to say, this is a very, very shitty way to start out.
Yeah, it really is. Although it's not nearly as bad as... We'll get to that later.
Right.
Just focus on Bloodshot. The acting. Oh, boy.
Oh, my God.
Vin Diesel, what were you thinking?
Yeah,
it's kind of sad that he brings more character to a talking tree, which has a 5-word vocabulary throughout the 4 entire movies, than this bland protagonist.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Like a very disappointing performance from Vin Diesel. He not only is his acting very shallow, but he brings no life to the Bloodshot character whatsoever.
No. And the rest of the actors are just, oh boy. Especially Toby Kebbell.
Oh my God!
First Fan Forstic, and now this.
Oh my God! Oh my God! His villain's nothing but a cartoon character. That's all his villain is.
I mean, and his introductory scene alone, he's dancing to some pop song in front of Vin Diesel and his wife. It's not nearly as corny as the one as how the villain of Die Hard 5 did it, but it's still pretty fucking corny.
It is. It is, and it's just hard to take the villain seriously, especially when he's acting all cartoonish and just over the top. That's all he's doing. And I get that it's based on a comic book, but come on.
The screenplay, it's like they confused plot twist and exposition for actual storytelling.
Then again, this is written by Jeff Wadlow, the same idiot that brought me the worst movie I've seen this year, Fantasy Island or Shit Island.
The action is just so poorly edited and hard to follow.
Oh my god! I will admit there was that one chase sequence in the film that I thought was pretty cool, but other than that, forget about the rest of the action sequences. They're really hard to follow, especially with the way it was edited. My god.
The special effects range from kinda decent, like the way that Vin Diesel's body heals, to PS1 gameplay, like that.
Especially this one scene where we get to see a CGI version of Vin Diesel. Like, what the fuck?
It truly is a movie that makes you wonder what the hell they were thinking while making this movie, and to even think that this is one of the few movies they actually chose to re-release while theaters are being reopened.
This came out back in March, before the pandemic happened, by the way.
Oh, that the Spider-Verse movie winning all these critics over and winning all these awards. Fuck that noise. Bloodshot, this is where it's at. Let's re-release that movie while theaters are being reopened. They'll love it.
Yeah, really. This movie should have been just on either Netflix or some type of different streaming service. God, this movie was terrible. I mean, it's not as bad as some of the worst movies I've seen this year, like The Turning, Brahms the Boy 2, Pooh Little, and Shit Island, but that's not saying much. That's like saying if you were to compare a piece of human shit to a melted ice cream, it's still shit.
My recommendation is to only watch this movie if you're looking for some dumb, cheap action movie to play in the background. Otherwise, avoid this movie at all costs. 3 out of 10, D plus.
It has some. I will admit, one chase sequence was actually pretty cool. The cinematography is decent, and I actually did like Isa Gonzalez and Guy Pearce in the film. I thought for what they were given, they did a fine job. But the rest of the performances, forget it. I mean, as I said, Vin Diesel. This is a disappointing performance from him, since, like I said, he brings no life to the character whatsoever, and his acting was shallow. But it's even worse when Toby Kebbell is so bland, is so terrible, annoying, and cartoonish in the movie, especially with his villain character. His villain character, as I stated before, he's nothing but a cartoon character, a cartoon villain character. Like, what was this? Along with the shit editing, bad visual effects, bad music, and an ending that just leaves you just like, no. 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10. This is one of the worst movies I've seen this year.
You want to know what the sad thing is? Bloodshot is the best of the bad movies that I have to review on this episode, because I saw 2 other movies that make Bloodshot look like Tenet by comparison.
Oh my god!
First movie on here. Okay. So, as you may know, Warner Brothers and Warner Animation Group lost the rights to Lego due to Lego Ninjago and Lego Movie 2 underperforming at the box office, losing the rights to Universal for future Lego movies. So it's pretty obvious that they wanted this movie to be the starting point of their next big franchise. And if that's the case...
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the worst animated movie of the year so far, of which I've seen, Scoob.
Yep, I knew it. I heard so many bad things about this film.
So, the main problem with this movie, it's not even a Scooby-Doo movie. I mean, the first 15 minutes show Shaggy and Scooby first meeting and then coming across their new friends and solving their first mystery and setting up Mystery Corps, but Mystery Incorporated, I'm sorry. But then after the opening credits, it's like I didn't know what the fuck they were doing with this property. I mean, they throw in so much shit on screen. I mean, Simon Cowell, Dick Dastardly.
Oh my god!
Captain Caveman. I mean, did they even see a Scooby-Doo cartoon before writing this shit?
I haven't seen the movie, but I saw a few clips of it, and I'm like, what have you done?
It's not even a mystery movie like this is supposed to be. And this is coming from a guy who was not really into the whole Scooby-Doo lore, but even I know that the gist of what Scooby-Doo is supposed to be. This movie is just this weird mismatch of superhero, cinematic universe antics, Indiana Jones archaeology, and adventuring.
Oh my god.
And the humor of this movie. I mean, there's this scene where Mark Wahlberg's character, I forget his name, and Shaggy are hiding from
Captain Falcon.
Thank you, Captain Falcon, and Shaggy are hiding from the enemies, and Captain Falcon says, "Don't worry, I'll distract, fend them off with F-bombs." F-bombs!
And you
laugh!
What have you done? What have you done?
Seriously.
And also another thing I want to talk about. I saw another clip of this movie. There's another scene in the film where Captain Falcon dabs.
I completely blocked that out of my memory. I guess I'm glad I did.
I mean, I haven't even seen the movie, and already that really pissed me off. That really pissed me off. It's like Warner Brothers doesn't even know what to do with their Hanna-Barbera properties. Oh, and speaking of Hanna-Barbera properties, I saw the Banana Splits movie recently. It was shit. Yeah. It's like between this and the Banana Splits movie, it's like Warner Brothers just like doesn't know what to even do with their Hanna-Barbera properties, especially since all the Hanna-Barbera properties are owned by them, are owned by Warner Brothers. It's like, what are you doing? If you're going to make a movie based on Hanna-Barbera properties, have it stay faithful.
Now, I'll give other animated films this. Even how bad some most studio animated films are with their writing. At least at least some of them have pleasing looking animation. At least the animation is decent. Even the animation in this movie looks super cheap. It actually feels like the animators of those DVD Barbie movies animated this. In fact, let me just show you this real quick here. You want to talk about looking like a Barbie CGI Barbie movie? How do I share screen?
Like I can still see you.
Can you see this? Can you see the screen?
I don't think so. Which Barbie movie are you pointing out?
No, this is a character in the movie Scoob. Look at her and tell me that she does not look like a reject from those CGI Barbie movies, complete with the hair and boobs. Seriously.
I'm looking up right now. Give me a second. I'm looking it up right now, and oh my god, yeah, just it's like you couldn't even get a better animation than that. Are you shitting me?
Yeah, seriously.
Are you shitting me? Like I said, I haven't seen the movie, and that already pissed me off.
Guys, this is one of Animation Group's worst movies so far. Yes, even worse than Smallfoot, and even Smallfoot I didn't even like.
I didn't like Smallfoot. I didn't like Smallfoot either. It wasn't a good movie, but from what you're describing, take Smallfoot out of here. It is no longer the worst.
No. So, and I haven't seen the live-action Scooby-Doo movies from the early 2000s, and even I can tell that those movies are better representations of Scooby-Doo than this piece of shit.
Honestly, yeah. Oh my god.
So yeah, this is hands down the worst movie so far. It's not as good as the Lego movies. It's not even as good as Storks, which I consider underrated. But
I thought Storks was all right.
It's said that even the live action movies that people shit on, are masterpieces compared to this movie. 3 out of 10. D. Avoid this movie at all costs.
I'm not going to see it because I've heard, because after hearing so many things about this movie and after watching a few clips of it, I'm like, yeah, no way am I seeing it.
And you know what the sadder part is? We haven't gotten to the bottom of the barrel of 2020 so far.
I know what it is. I know what it is. You talked to me about it on Discord, and I'm like, everybody's ripped on this. Almost everybody ripped on this movie, and I'm like, yeah, thank God I'm not seeing that.
My next movie review, and the worst movie of 2020 so far, Disney's Artemis Fowl.
The floor is all yours, my friend. Get him.
Now, Artemis Fowl, the movie, is based on the first two books in the Artemis Fowl series. And the the fact that and the fact that they tried to condense it into one movie is just why. Not to mention the runtime. What do you think the runtime's going to be? 3 hours, 2.5, 2:15.
This is where I'm gonna chime in on this, just for this one time. If you thought it was gonna be 2 hours, you're sadly mistaken.
95
95
minutes. 95 minutes of pure shit. Of pure insanity. Where do I even begin with this? Where do I even begin with this?
Go for it.
So,
how about talk about the acting and how? And I heard from everybody that the acting was shit.
yeah. So the opening scene, we see Josh Gad as this giant dwarf being interrogated, and the minute he opens his mouth, it's like he saw Christian Bale in the Dark Knight movies and said, "Yeah, that's perfect to that's a perfect voice of this troll character." It's like. And the rest of the acting isn't much better. I mean, the main character who plays Artemis Fowl, he could not be any more bland if he even tried. I mean, you thought Jake Lloyd in episode 1 was bad? This actor makes Jake Lloyd in episode 1 look like Jacob Tremblay in Rome.
Whoa! That's gotta be awful.
Look like Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense or Anna Paquin in The Piano. It's that bad. And this is his first. This is his first movie. So imagine how shit on he's gonna be. How bullied he's gonna be in school after his classmates find out that he's in this piece of garbage. And in the end, please fire your agent right now. I don't care if he's this is his dead end job and he'll probably die as a hobo if you fire him. Okay, I kind of care a little bit, but still.
That's sad.
First, she plays Deuteronomy in the live action adaptation of Cats.
Oh yeah, Judi Dench. I heard she's horribly wasted in this movie, and
then God. It's like she's challenging Josh Gad in a Christian Bale Batman impersonation challenge. Holy fucking shit!
Oh my God! And I've seen the Cats movie. It's just from what you described. Oh my God! Oh man, I feel so bad for you because you suffered through that movie, but I also feel bad for Judi Dench because first Cats and now this movie, and it's just who is her agent?
I mean, she goes from Wayne and Oscar for a Shakespearean romance, which is pretty, which she didn't deserve for that, but I digress.
No, but
then she stars in 2 bombs in a row. I mean, 2
bombs in a row, like, my God.
I mean, you thought that Halle Berry's career went to shit from from starring in Monsters Ball, being the first African American to win Best Actress, to Catwoman. I thought that was bad, but this is a whole nother level.
Thank God I didn't see Artemis Fowl.
Don't. The screenplay is one of the worst screenplays I've ever experienced. And I thought that Bloodshot and Do Little to Impress were bad at the exposition. This is nothing but exposition. I guess that's what you get for adapting 2 entire books into a 90-minute movie. And not to mention, they build up Artemis as this big criminal mastermind. And he even says it at the end, but how? What in this movie shows that he's smart, that he's intelligent? I mean, imagine if in Rain Man that they say that Dustin Hoffman's character is a bit socially awkward, but at the same time he can count toothpicks and cheat at cars. But they only tell you that. They don't show it. As in show, don't tell. And the action in this movie, while there are one or two cool scenes like that time stop sequence was pretty neat, I guess, even though it's been done before and better in films like Days of Future Past and Over the Head and Sonic the Hedgehog, but still, the action in this movie, the action is Bloodshot quality. So fast-paced, so hard to follow. And the CGI is just... Why? I mean, you're Disney. You know better than this. But that's nothing compared to what I consider to be the worst scene of the year. I mean, you thought that Do Little to Impress climax was bad, where Robert Downey Jr. gets farted on by a dragon. I'm making this shit up, by the way. So the protagonists have to
that fucking scene I'll tell you.
So the main characters have to break into this mansion, and but it's heavily guarded. Luckily, Josh Gad has this ability to dig through the ground and go up into the mansion. Now that's a pretty neat idea, but the execution.
The execution ruins it, huh?
So, Josh Gad, he makes his mouth much bigger like this. Makes his mouth about as big as that Surprise Patrick Star meme from the SpongeBob movie. And then he crouches into the ground. Eats the dirt only to shit it back out while he's digging through the crowd.
Oh my God. No, man, no.
'tis but a scratch, just a mere flesh wound. This is a pretty neat toy gun, by the way. Pretty good grip to it, but still. So, how did director Kenneth Branagh go from the best Shakespearean movie Hamlet from 1996 to this?
And I
Why?
feel bad. I feel bad for him because his vision got butt fucked by Disney.
Why hasn't Judi Dench fired her agent by now? Why did Disney wait so long to cast in on the Harry Potter Twilight craze of YA adaptations to make this? And would they even dare make a sequel? I sure hope not.
No.
Because
do not make a sequel.
Because this is their lowest point. I mean, say what you will about their DVD sequels and live action remakes. At least they have diamonds in the rough, like Aladdin 3 or Pocahontas 2 or Beauty and the Beast 2017. Or hell, even the Lion King remake I actually kind of dug. But this! One out of 10. Why not 0? I don't know. I guess it could have been worse, but still.
All I can say is this. Disney, what the fuck?
Get to the rest of your reviews. I need a minute.
All right. Okay, so while FilmBrony right here is going to calm down a bit, I'll talk about two more new movies that I saw that I also saw along with actually three, because one of them was one of the most disappointing films of the year. The other was just but the other one is the best movie I've seen this year so far. So I want to get the bad out of the way, and then I'll get to the good. All right, so my first one is Wendy. Now, Wendy is the modern day adaptation of the Peter Pan story, and this is directed by Ben Zeitlin. I do apologize if I mispronounce the name. Who directed one of the best movies I saw from 2012, which was Beasts of the Southern Wild. So as you can imagine, after seeing the magnificent Beasts of the Southern Wild, I was really looking forward to seeing what he was going to do next. So when I heard that his new movie was going to be a modern day reimagining of the Peter Pan story, I got really excited. But then the reviews came out, and I was like, oh no. Oh no, please don't tell me this is going to be like what they said. This is the most disappointing film I've seen this year so far. Wendy is one of the most inconsistent and model. Wendy is one of the most inconsistent and incoherent films I've seen this year. I mean, I'll say this: the only good things about the film are Devin France, who gives out a very good performance as Wendy Darling. She was easily the best actor in the whole film. And it has a fantastic musical score composed by Dan Romer. Okay, I wouldn't say fantastic, but very good, but great. A great musical score. The cinematography is absolutely beautiful, especially with the way it's shot. With the way they shot this, I mean, it feels so natural and so well done. And it has some pretty neat looking visuals too, to show on what Neverland would look like if it was a real place. And that was very well done, I thought. And it has some pretty good production design too. And now, this is where we get to the negatives. Oh boy. Okay, first of all, The story tries to be interesting, but it falls very short due to it being an inconsistent mess. The script is also an inconsistent and muddled mess too, since the dialogue is absolutely bland. And I mean really, 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 really bland. And not only that, the character development in this movie, forget it. Forget it. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. Since the characters in this movie feel very poorly developed. Not only that, but the rest of the acting, minus Devin France, everybody else in this movie was so hollow and bland. I mean, no disrespect to the actor that played Peter Pan. I'm sure he tried his best, but he didn't bring any life to the character whatsoever. No disrespect to the actor that played Peter Pan, and no disrespect to any of the kid actors either. It's just, see, this is why I hate picking on kids in movies, because most of them could give out good performances, but while some of them can't, and sadly, Wendy's one of those movies. The editing was a muddled mess. Especially since it gave me unfortunate flashbacks to when I saw some of Terrence Malick's worst movies, like Night of Cups and Song to Song. Yeah. And another thing that really, really pissed me off about this movie was let's see. Okay. Oh yeah. Another thing that really pissed me off about this movie was the tone. Like, this movie can't even decide what it wants to be. Does it want to be another Peter Pan movie? Like a modern day retelling of Peter Pan? Does it want to be a dark movie? Does it want to be a dark Peter Pan movie? We don't know. You have to pick one. You can't just do like both at the same time. And the ending was so abrupt and so poorly done that it was like, what's the point? Wendy's the most disappointing film I've seen this year so far, and while it does have a good performance by Devin France, and it has a couple of entertaining moments here and there, it's unfortunately an inconsistent and muddled mess. 3 out of 10. My most disappointing film of the year so far. All right, and then my next movie I'm going to talk about that also had some potential, but its execution was underwhelming, is Greed. Now, Greed is the story of Steve Coogan's character, who is a billionaire high street fashion mogul. Now, this is mogul. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Now this is based on the events. Now this is based on the Arcada Group chairman Philip Green and the events surrounding his 60th birthday. His 60th birthday celebration of on the Greek island of Mykonos. Now this is based on that. So, and it's also supposed to be a satire on the a fictionalized satire on like the rich people and their business in Britain. Now, this is not based on a true story by any means necessary, but it is inspired by this. So yeah. So what did I think of Greed overall? It was pretty underwhelming. I will say this: there are some good things about this movie. Like the acting, most of the acting is very good. Steve Coogan shines as always in this movie. It has a solid soundtrack. The cinematography is very good. And I did laugh at some of the jokes in the film. Like, I did laugh at 10% of the jokes they were trying to throw in the film. And the ending was surprisingly solid. I thought the way it ended was pretty solid. Now let's get to the flaws I have with the film. The story tries to be interesting, but falls short due to it being an inconsistent mess. The script, I was also disappointed with the script. Um, it's filled with some really bland dialogue, and most of the jokes they throw in the film fall very flat. Like, I mean, 90% of the jokes. Like I said, I get that it's supposed to be a satire on rich people and the business in Britain. I just wish they delved in more into this. That's why the script didn't work for me. Which is also why the directing by Michael Winterbottom was also disappointing too, because I don't know, like, I don't know what directing direction he was trying to go for with this. And while I said most of the acting was good, including Steve Coogan, I also forgot to mention Isla Fisher. She's not in the movie that much, but for what she's given in the film, she did a fine job. And same thing with Asa Butterfield. He did a good job too. So while most of the acting was good, David Mitchell, I was very disappointed in because he plays Nick in the film. Ironically, my name's also Nick, but you get the point. He plays Nick in the film, and he's supposed to be like this like journalist, and he's supposed to act like we're the audience, and the jokes he tries to go for in the film, it falls very flat on its face, and he was really annoying in this movie. So, oh, okay, well, I wouldn't say annoying, but he was so bland in this movie, very bland. Overall, a disappointing performance from David Mitchell. The editing was a muddled mess. The pacing sluggish. Okay, well, not that sluggish, but it has a lot of pacing issues here and there. Most of the jokes fall very flat, and yeah, overall, Greed did have a great performance by Steve Coogan, and it has a couple of entertaining moments here and there, but unfortunately, it was just it was boring and forgettable, and just not that funny. Not a bad movie, but it could have been a lot better. 4.5 out of 10. And now I get to talk about. Well, I finished talking about Wendy and Greed, and now I'm about to talk about the best movie I've seen this year so far. If you thought the Invisible Man was the best movie I've seen this year so far, you're sadly mistaken, because we're going to talk about my favorite movie I've seen this year so far, and that film is the movie that's been getting a lot of praise ever since it premiered at Sundance earlier this year, and the fact that it won the Grand Jury Prize at the Berlin International Film Festival this year. And I was really looking forward to seeing it, because one of the producers for this movie produced my favorite movie of 2016, Moonlight, and I was really excited when I found out about this, and when I found out about the story of the film. That film is never, rarely, sometimes, always. Now, this movie's about... What were we going to say? Soren, I can't hear you.
Say that name 10 times fast. Never, sometimes, some ways, whatever. Say that 10 times fast.
Never, really, sometimes, always. Never, really, sometimes, always. Never, really, sometimes, always. Oh, okay. Well, we'll say that for another time.
Yeah.
But never, really, sometimes, always. It's the story of this 17-year-old girl named Autumn, and her cousin Skylar, and when Autumn is diagnosed with unintended pregnancy, she and her cousin Skylar basically go to New York City to get help from this, to get help. Now this movie is about abortion, so and last time we had a movie about abortion was all the way back in 2019 with that Unplanned movie, that Pureflix movie that I thankfully didn't see, but I heard really bad things about. Now, and I was a little concerned about the story it was trying to go for. Now, even though I was really looking forward to seeing this movie, I was a little concerned of how it was going to handle its like abortion message. But thankfully it handled its message very well in the film. It didn't come off as preachy, and instead it drove the story forward. And speaking of the story, I found it very interesting and engaging throughout, especially with how realistic it felt. The script. This was written and directed by Eliza Hittman, the same woman that brought us Beach Rats, which I've not seen that film. I heard good things about it. In this movie, she delivers a terrific writing and direct. She delivers a terrific script and a terrific direction. Like, this is one of the best. This is the best written and best directed movie I've seen this year so far. How she directed, how she wrote the script, especially with how she wrote the characters and the dialogue in the film, that was spectacular. And how she directed the movie was also absolutely spectacular. The acting was terrific too. Sydney Flanagan. This is one of the best performances I've seen from an actress this year. She plays the main character, Autumn, and she was absolutely terrific in this movie. Her performance was so raw and her performance felt so raw and so real that her character feels like a real teenage girl. Like you could swear that her teenage character felt real, and that performance was so real and so raw that I just cannot help but just praise the performance. Praise Sydney Flanagan enough. Talia Ryder, who plays Skylar in the film, also gives out a terrific performance too. This is also one of the best supporting performances I've seen this year too. And the chemistry that Sydney and Talia had in the film, the chemistry was pitch perfect because you really do believe that these characters are both cousins, Autumn and Skylar. And that's what I loved about this movie, how real it felt. This is one of the most realistic movies I've ever seen, next to films like Manchester by the Sea. And the music is fantastic. The cinematography is absolutely beautiful. One of the best looking movies I've seen this year. The editing was terrific. The pacing was terrific too. Now, this is a slow burn pace film. Just to let you guys know, if you can handle the slow burn pace, then you're in for one of the most moving films I've seen this entire year. And the way it ended, no spoilers by the way, this is one of the most moving endings I've seen this year. Now, and since it's a movie about abortion, how they handled the story of that and how they handled the message about it, I don't want to get into too much spoilers of this movie because most of everybody hasn't even seen it, especially since it premiered in New York and LA on March 13th, and it was supposed to play nationwide on April 3rd, but due to the pandemic, that caused Focus Features to release it on demand instead, on demand platforms. You get the point. Excuse me. More people really need to see this movie. If you want to see a great movie that tackles the subject of abortion very well, and if you want to see just a great movie in general, go watch Never Really, Sometimes, Always. It is the best movie I've seen in 2020 so far. It's one of the most compelling, riveting, moving, realistic, and thought-provoking films I've seen all year. This movie is already a deadlock in my top 5 best films of the year, if not my top 3. I love this movie. I love Never Really, Sometimes Always. Please check this one out. I'm going to give Never Really, Sometimes Always, without a doubt, a 10 out of 10. Easily the best movie I've seen this year so far. Do not miss your chance to watch this film. It's available on demand. It's available on demand, or if you can order, or since it's been out on DVD since June 8th, it's available. It's available to order on like Target or Walmart or any other things, or any other stores. It's available on those, so I highly recommend it. It is the best movie I've seen this year so far. And that's my reviews.
Now that we got the current movie reviews out of the way, right now I have two classic movie reviews to go over of two movies I recently saw. First off is the 2005 film Brokeback Mountain.
A classic.
Now, a drama about the two cowboys who have a secret forbidden relationship as they try to struggle with their respective lives seems like the wrong movie for a heterosexual Christian male like myself. But the fact is, unlike some people in my demographic, I actually look at this type of media. I actually look at LGBT media objectively as opposed to subjectively. Like, for instance, Rocketman was one of my favorite films last year. I really like Moonlight in Philadelphia, and I count Gods and Monsters as one of my all-time favorite movies.
Nice.
This movie is no different. So Heath Ledger, I think Heath gave his second best performance behind You Know What.
Yep, I agree.
As Ennis Del Mar, the film's protagonist, and his co-star Jake Gyllenhaal deserves just as much credit. And I think Jake should have won Best Supporting Actor, in my opinion.
Yeah, he should have won.
And Ang Lee's direction, the cinematography and music, and the writing dialogue are superb at setting the mood of 1960s to 1980s Midwest America, and the tragedy of their respective relationships, both with each other for the few times they actually get together, and with the people in their respective lives, like their marriages and families, etc. And the movie just leaves you with so many questions to ponder yourself and discuss with your friends. Like, for instance, is Ennis really in love with Jack, or did Jack just force a relationship Ennis didn't want? Is Ennis happy raising a family with his wife? What's the significance of Ennis and Jack seeing each other so few times over the numbers of decades? Do they just have their own lives to worry about, or is Ennis deliberately trying to stay away from Jack? What's the meaning of Jack's remark, "I wish I knew how to quit you"? And what's the meaning of the final line said in the movie?
That final shot in the film was absolutely phenomenal.
So overall, Ang Lee's adaptation of Annie Proulx's short story is an outstandingly made, sad and thought-provoking tale of a friendship gone too far. If you're uncomfortable seeing homosexuality on screen, it's your choice whether to see this film or not. But if you're a huge fan of film and looks at any story objectively, no matter the subject, I'd say check this out if you haven't already. And while a lot of people said that this should have won over Crash for Best Picture, and while my personal pick was actually Batman Begins, this is up there as a masterpiece of cinema. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10.
My favorite movie of 2005 was Capote. Yet I know that Brokeback Mountain should have won Best Picture over the overrated Crash movie. And Roger Ebert, I'm sorry, but Crash is the best film of 2005. I don't see it. I'm sorry. I don't. I love you. I love you, Roger Ebert. You were a fantastic critic. You inspired me so much. But I'm sorry. I don't see how this is the best film of 2000. I don't see how Crash is the best film of 2005 for you. Sorry.
Mm. Now then, we go from one of the most critically acclaimed Best Picture nominees of the 21st century to one of the most polarizing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Clint Eastwood's biopic of Chris Kyle, known as American Sniper.
Oh my God.
American Sniper has got to be one of the most polarizing films of the 2010s decade, with a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes currently. Some people called it a tense war drama, others say it was underwhelming.
Sadly, I'm in the underwhelming category.
As for me, well, let's start with the negatives first. So the people who hate this movie say that it wasted the potential of Chris Kyle's conflicted character in real life and could have been something more. And personally, I have to agree. As it is, it's a pretty standard Marine movie, nothing more and nothing less.
Yeah, that's all there is. And it's just the main problem with this movie is the story and the fact that it's like the fact that it focuses on Chris Kyle and the trips, like the trips that he went as a soldier. It's just underwhelming.
Also, I thought the editing between sequences was a bit formulaic. I mean, one scene, Chris is serving time in the military as a sniper. The next scene, he's back at home trying to fit in as a husband and a father.
Oh,
next scene, he's a sniper. Next scene, he's a family figure. Lather, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, the editing was just a muddled mess.
Anyhow, I'll have to address the elephant in the room. Oh. The baby doll scene.
This is where I'll come in with this, because that scene was literally the worst scene I've seen in the whole film. Like it's just, from what I'm reading right here, Jason Hall replied in response to this, hate to ruin the fun, but real baby showed up with a fever, and real baby number 2 was no show, and Clint said, "Give me the doll, kid." And I'm like, then why didn't you just wait until the next day to shoot that scene with the real baby?
Seriously. I mean, you can tell that the baby that Bradley Cooper and what's her name? His wife.
Sienna Miller.
Thank you. Sienna Miller are holding a baby doll, because in the scene where she hands the doll over to him, it doesn't move a muscle. And there's another shot where you can clearly see that Bradley Cooper is remotely moving the baby's arm to signify motion. I mean, I don't think it's nearly as bad as the one used in Breaking Dawn 2, because this one...
I think it's worse. To me, I think it's worse. And let me explain why. Yeah, the CGI effects in Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2 was a trope, was really bad, but at least they tried to make the baby look realistic. Here though, it's like they didn't even try. And you could You can clearly see that it's a baby doll. That's why I think it's worse.
And the last problem I have with the American Sniper is the ending. As I wish that
I fucking hated the ending.
Because I wish they actually visually showcase how Chris Kyle got killed in real life. I mean, it was hinted at the end, but it's like Clay Eastwood forgot to shoot the scene until he was in the middle of editing and was like, "Oh crap! I forgot to film a scene with Chris Kyle's murder." Yeah, I'll just mention it, and then later no one would notice. I mean, talk about missed potential.
Yeah, really.
All right, let's get down to the positives. Now, I have stated that this is nothing more than a standard Marine movie, but to be honest, the way that Clint Eastwood directed it is 95% top notch. 95%.
I will admit the directing is pretty good, and the acting is decent. I mean, Bradley Cooper did a fantastic job playing Chris Kyle, even though he should have never even been nominated. I'm sorry, but him over Jake Gyllenhaal, I don't see it.
Jake Gyllenhaal, Miles Teller, enough said.
Seriously.
And I will admit the war sequences are pretty well shot and edited. I'll admit there are some intense moments throughout. It almost makes it worthy of its Oscar win for best sound editing. And only best sound editing, nothing more.
Well, yeah, most of the war sequences are very well shot. I mean, the cinematography is easily the biggest praise I have with the film. But in this one scene, in this one war sequence scene that really pissed me off, they use CGI blood. And I'm just like, really? You can't even get a makeup artist to make the blood look real?
So, in my conclusion, to me, American Sniper is a good movie. Not great, not even Best Picture worthy, especially since you're nominated over, say, the Lego Movie or Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler, Interstellar. Those are way better movies than this mediocre film. At least for me.
Yeah, for me, I think the well-crafted war sequences and performance do make it worth watching for me every once in a while. And personally, I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10.
5 out of 10 for me. I mean, yes, it's well acted. I mean, yes, the acting is good. The cinematography is fantastic. I mean it. The cinematography is like the biggest praise I have with the film, and there are some great war sequences throughout. But it's just, to me, this is an example of a war film that doesn't even feel like a war film. And what it's really more is just Chris Kyle and his journeys that he went on. That's all there is. This is the reason why why I picked this as not only my most overrated film of 2014, but my most overrated film of the decade. I love Clint Eastwood. I really love this guy. He's one of my favorite filmmakers working today, but this is one of his weakest movies, in my opinion.
And that's it for all our movie reviews. And next we have a couple lists to go over. So this first one is from Watch Mojo, and it's the top 20 misleading movie trailers.
Okay.
20 movie trailers that prove that you can't really judge a book by its cover.
Right. Let me just say this. I'm not going to say some. If for a reason I am silent, is because I'm not going to say much about this as he reads the list. So yeah, just saying. Go ahead.
Okay. Number 20, Colossal. Unlike the first trailer for most monster movies, this indie sci-fi flick was happy to reveal its large creature up front. Well, well, what it only vaguely alluded to, however, was the film's darker undertones. When it was billed as a black comedy, most people assumed the darkness came from the fact that this kaiju was destroying Seoul. But in reality, the issues are much more personal. Given the age of the characters, the presence of bears in the trailer seems unremarkable, but in hindsight, they were our first signs of the real problem: alcoholism. The film also gets pretty deep into toxic relationships. Not exactly the quirky monster film everybody expected. Number 19, Ghost World. As for Colossal, the trailer for this graphic novel adaptation also seemed to suggest a lighthearted comedy. In fact, it's much more of a tragedy. Ghost World's trailer basically shows every joke in the movie, giving the impression that it's a typical coming-of-age flick filmed with awkward teenage humor. In actual fact, the story follows two cynical teenage girls who play a cruel prank on a lonely man. This triggers a series of events that sees the girls drifting apart and several other relationships in ruins. It's much more evocative and dramatic than the trailer lets on. Alright, number 18, Adventureland. Once you make one popular movie, all your others will be judged according to its standards. Such as the unfortunate case with director Greg Matala, whose gross out Superbad was a hit with audiences. This meant that his intimate and meaningful film, Adventureland, about a young adult who gets a job at an amusement park, was marketed as another crass, inappropriate film like its predecessor. Although audiences were treated to a relatable story filled with surprising depth, many left disappointed that they didn't see more nutshots and awkward sex scenes. Number 17, the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. You all pretty much know about this, seeing it marketed itself as a literal out of water story, but in reality, it's only the last year.
Uh-oh. Hey, Soren, your mic is like muted.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay, where did I get muted?
I I don't know. It just said on my server on my StreamYard server that the mic was muted. So
Okay, yeah. Number 20 was Colossal. Number 19 was Ghost World. Number 18, Adventureland. Number 17, The SpongeBob Movie 2. 16, Place Beyond the Pines. Number 15, Contagion. Contagion is about the spread of a deadly virus around the world. The trailer is packed with action scenes and images straight out of a horror movie, from post-apocalyptic cityscapes and the military checkpoints. As such, many moviegoers were surprised when Contagion turned out to be an incredibly realistic depiction of a pandemic, featuring a lot of scientific research and talking. It wasn't what the trailer led people to expect, but proved fascinating all the same. Number 14, Cabin in the Woods. This could pretty much spoil the big twist, but let's just say that the misleading marketing of it being a traditional slasher movie, it was kind of intentional, and in actuality, it was something more. So, number 13, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. With what's perhaps one of the oddest trailers ever, this movie was marketed as a lighthearted romantic comedy when it wasn't anything but. The preview shows clips of the characters having tons of goofy fun, complete with happy, bubbly music in the background. The movie is actually about a couple erasing their memories of each other, and it's an intensely dramatic and at times depressing film. It even won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, proving how complex and emotional the film really is. Why they use the song like Mr. Blue Sky is beyond us, although we're guessing they were deliberately misleading us. Number 12, Funny People. Just like I mentioned, line director Greg McCullough, Judd Apatow was a penchant for raunchy comedies. So when his dramatic Funny People was released, the trailers tried to get as many of his fans on board as possible. The trailer is filled with goofy jokes and an upbeat-sounding song, portraying a fun movie. The actual experience definitely wasn't as innocent, as the film deals with Sandler's impending death from cancer and his failure as a romantic partner. The film was even compared to The Great Gatsby due to its true nature. So when you go thinking it's an Adam Sandler comedy, you'll be surprised. Number 11, The Rules of Attractions. Pretty upbeat trailer, was really a dramatic and depressing movie. Let's move on. Number 10, Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, yeah. That movie was so misleading.
Yeah, we all pretty much know about this. So let's just move on. Number 9, executive to this decision. Executive to the decision. Featuring a plot to
executive decision.
Thanks. Featuring a plot to poison the entire eastern seaboard in performances by the like of Steven Seagal and Kurt Russell, the sneak peek for this action film really had moviegoers pumped, with Seagal leading the strike force to commandeer the plane that's been hijacked. The trailer convinces us that it's going to be another action film in which Seagal will entertain us with some serious butt kicking. Most of us were surprised then when the star died in executive decision's first 20 minutes. So much for kicking butts, more like kicking the bucket. Number 8, Jarhead. But the moment this trailer opens, the sight of a bald Jake Gyllenhaal as a soldier is enough to convince us to put this movie on our must-watch list. With scenes of commanding officers barking out orders, military exercises, explosions, gunshots, and planes zooming overhead, we thought that this 2005 film might be another Saving Private Ryan. However, fans of action-packed war movies were disappointed to find out that Jarhead was actually a biographical drama that intentionally contained very little action. In fact, Gyllenhaal's character never actually ends up shooting his rifle. Number 7, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street. The trailer of this gothic revenge tale begins by showing a young man, played by Johnny Depp, with a wife and child enjoying a happy life. But this is soon destroyed by a corrupt judge who sends him off on what seems to be false charges with his wife and child are captured. He returns a changed man and is now a killer who gangs up on his landlady and has a desire for revenge. But the trailer doesn't tell you that the flick is a musical, and that Johnny Depp and the rest of the gang sing on and on and on and on and on. Okay, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Number six, Pan's Labyrinth. The trailer to Guillermo del Toro's masterpiece features an English narration that showcased the film's fantasy elements. Yes, the opening shots were of real-life battle, but this seemed to be the incidental background of it to an enchanted fairy tale. So you could have been forgiven for sitting down in theaters expecting of the life of people. In fact, though this movie is in Spanish and the historical context plays an essential role, with the film explaining the brutal dictatorship in the aftermath of the Spanish Civil War. It was a powerful fusion of history and fantasy, and in this case, viewers got so much more than the trailer suggested. Number five is Drive. You all pretty much know about this, how this is marketed to be the next Fast and Furious, when in reality it was a slow-burn thriller. And this was leading to the point where one of the audience members actually sued Sony for misleading her into thinking that this is not what it was.
Oh yeah, I remember when that happened.
Number four, Godzilla 2014. You thought that Heisenberg was gonna be the main star of this movie? Well, you thought wrong, because he's killed off in the first act of this movie. Enough said. Number three, Hook. This trailer opened up almost like a slasher flick. It's there in the eerie music, the children opening their eyes in the dark, and the door lights slowly lifting before the doors shoot open and green light pours in. This sneak peek made viewers think that Hook was gonna somehow lean into the serial killer or monster movie genre. In reality, this Steven Spielberg film about the adult Peter Pan rescuing his kids in Neverland ended up being a charming, funny, and magical family adventure. Number two is Bridge to Terabithia. Two children laugh and run together into a forest. Inside is a magical kingdom filled with fairies, walking trees, and an assortment of other bizarre and fascinating creatures. This trailer has all the features of a kid-friendly adventure fantasy that's sure to lift the soul and inspire the imagination. Unfortunately, anyone hoping for these characteristics must have been quite disappointed. What they got was an emotional drama about kids struggling with grief, abandonment, and death. There was very little of the enchanted kingdom that showed so predominantly in the trailer. Number one. I hate this movie. I really did. And the marketing made it worse. Alien 3.
Yeah, it wasn't a good movie.
This teaser trailer played off the famous tagline for the first movie in the franchise. This announcement seemed to make it clear that the threequel would be set on Earth, which it most definitely wasn't. It was actually set on a prison planet. The reason for the misleading trailer was at the time of its release, the sci-fi horror movie hadn't been completed. In fact, filming began before there was even a final script. Production issues and multiple rewrites resulted in a completely different movie. One that largely disappointed fans, including myself. Honestly, am I the only one who'd actually prefer Alien Resurrection over Alien 3? At least Resurrection made me laugh unintentionally.
Yeah, I think you might not be the only one. I think there might be other people who think that, but I still think Resurrection's a bit worse.
Now then, let's get to something a bit more positive. As we're going into a list by Taste of Cinema, and this is a pretty interesting one. There are 7 reasons why Parasite deserved to win Best Picture.
Let me get that movie. Here it is.
All right, so number 1, talented ensemble cast.
Yes, all the acting in this movie is absolutely terrific.
Number 2, it marks an important step towards diversity.
Yes, the way they handled the subject of diversity in that film was very well done.
Number 3, it seamlessly blends genres.
It does. Like first half of the film is like a dark satirical comedy, but when it shifts the tone to a serious thriller, that's when it became one of the most memorable experiences I've seen in the movie. Like I've never seen a tone. Like I've never seen a movie have one tone that does it very well, and yet another tone that also does it very well too, to the point where it just leaves you on the edge of your seat.
Number 4, it has universal themes that resonate with all the audiences.
Yes. Yes, like for example,
Number 5,
the way it talks about mental issues, that was very well done.
Number 5, incredible cinematography.
Yes, it is beautifully shot.
Number 6, the storytelling.
The storytelling was absolutely very well done.
And number 7, the sharp social commentary.
Yes, the way they touched on the subjects in the film was very well done too. Seriously,
Okay,
Parasite was easily my pick for the best film of 2019, and still to this day, it still remains as one of my all-time favorite movies. It still is.
It's up there for me. It's in my top 10. And personally, while I think that Avengers Endgame is my favorite movie of 2019, there's no taking away how masterful that Parasite is, and how much of a step it is to win Best Picture. I mean, personally, I think that other foreign films should have won before this, like 1931's M, or 1989's Cinema Paradiso, or 2018's Roma, but still.
Which I also own Cinema Paradiso.
All right, that's it for that list, and last list I have here is my own list, and usually I like to end the podcast with this, but this one's going to be a bit more different because I have a couple discussions to talk about after this. Anyways, here is my ranking of all 1980s Best Picture winners, ranked from worst to best. Anyways, number 10, Chariots of Fire.
I think it's a good movie, without a doubt, but I don't think it's personally the best film of 1981.
No, it's not. Raiders of the Lost Ark was. Number 9, Driving Miss Daisy.
Another great movie that I think it's a great movie, but I don't personally think it's the best film of the year.
Yeah, and the fact that 1989 was a fantastic year for movies like Born on the 4th of July, Glory, Do the Right Thing, My Left Foot, Field of Dreams. And of all movies, you picked this. Seriously. Number 8.
Yeah, I don't think that was a smart choice.
Number 8 is one of the only run movies to actually win the top spot. Number 8 is Out of Africa.
I didn't like that movie. Yes, it's well acted, it's well shot, and the musical score is fantastic. But the story was hard to follow, and the script I felt was a mess. It did not deserve to win Best Picture whatsoever.
This year went to either Color Purple or Back to the Future.
Color Purple for me, like, not only do I consider it the best film of 1985, not only do I consider it like the best film of 1985, but I consider it one of the best films of the 1980s.
Number 7, Gandhi.
A great film, but I think you and I are like our differences with what I feel should have won Best Picture.
For me, it was either Sophie's Choice or Das Boot or Blade Runner, my favorite movie of that year, although I don't think that would be the case because the wrong cut was released back then.
Yeah, and I know you didn't love this movie, but I think E.T. should have won Best Picture.
Something tells me that I should rewatch E.T. Maybe I'm just being a complete dumbass about that movie, calling it overrated and stuff. Maybe it's the masterpiece everyone says it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 6, The Last Emperor.
A great movie for sure.
Number 5, Terms of Endearment.
Easily the best film of 1983. The way it handles the subjects in the film was very well done, and it's like one of the best, like one of the most heartwarming films I've ever seen.
Number 4 is Ordinary People.
Another great movie.
Number 3 is Rain Man.
One of the best movies of the 1980s, without a doubt.
Number 2, Amadeus.
I agree with that choice.
And number 1 is obvious, Platoon.
Yep. I definitely also agree with that choice. All right, so as for my ranking, number 10. Hello, Jose. Welcome to the podcast. All right, so as for my choice, number 10 is Out of Africa. Number 9 is Chariots of Fire. Number 8 is Driving Miss Daisy. Number 7 is Gandhi. Number 6 is I'm trying to think. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of my rankings, but it's just really hard for me to come up with. Let me repeat this one more time. Number 10, Out of Africa. Number 9, Chariots of Fire. Number 8, Driving Miss Daisy. Number 7, number 7, Gandhi. Gandhi comes in at number 7. Now I remember. Number 6,
Number 6 was Ordinary People for you.
Yeah, number 6 was Ordinary People. Number 5, Terms of Endearment. Oh wait, number 5 was The Last Emperor. I'm sorry. Number 4, Terms of Endearment. Oh shit. Actually, number 4 is on Terms of Endearment. Number 3 is
Amadeus.
Amadeus is number 3. Number 2 is Terms of Endearment. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Number 2 is Rain Man, and my favorite, and I agree with Soren. Number 1, Platoon.
All right, so that's it for the list, and we'd like to end this podcast with a couple discussions that I'd like to touch base on. All right, so Okay, so my first discussion is a movie that a lot of people have been looking forward to later this year. But as for me, yeah, sorry, not my cup of tea. My first discussion is why I will not see No Time to Die. All right, let's just start off with the pretty unpopular opinion. I was never a fan of the 007 franchise in the first place. The first couple films were pretty good, but as it went on, the more I realized how boring and formulaic it had become. James Bond is a famous spy. James Bond has this two-dimensional interchangeable girlfriend. James Bond uses elaborate gadgets to stop bad guys from taking over the world. Lather, rinse, repeat. And by the time I got to On the Majesty Secret Service, I got so bored with it and skipped right to the reboot series with Daniel Craig. And you know what? This is a part of the 007 lore where I actually started to care. The first three films in the reboot series, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall were grounded, well-paced, superbly acted, and directed, and made James more than just another spy character. He was actually a three-dimensional protagonist. Skyfall especially is where the series got onto high ground and is one of my favorite action movies of all time. And everyone seems to agree with it too, giving it $1 billion in the box office.
I agree too. I agree with what everyone said about that film too.
But then the next one came. So, you think that the very director of Skyfall, Sam Mendes, you think that he'd make lightning strike twice when he signed on to direct this one? And that Christoph Waltz as the main villain is just the icing on the cake. But then when the movie finally came out, it's clear that they took a giant step backwards with this one. They took an otherwise expectation-subverting franchise and made just another crappy double James Bond movie with it. The acting is hit or miss. The girlfriend Bond hangs out with, there is not unique or interesting characteristic about her. The writing is extremely cringy with some of the worst dialogue in any of the four films. But perhaps the biggest sin of them all is the handling of the big James Bond baddie Blofeld. I mean, Christoph Waltz, he's a great actor and all, but it seems like he answered up every step of the way. And the way he got his signature scar on his face is just lazy. Why even call him Blofeld? Are you trying to pull a Star Trek Into Darkness and make the twist film of being a well-known baddie of previous incarnations? And you can argue this is worse here, because Benedict Cumberbatch's portrayal of Khan is masterful and threatening, and you can never deny that this is the same combat Raquel Montalban embodied in Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Here with Blofeld, B-L-O-W, you can call him Sheldon, and it wouldn't make a nanogram of difference.
Right.
So yeah, Spectre not only disappointed me, but it pretty much broke me as a Daniel Craig Bond fan. Screw this movie. Shame on MGM for tarnishing a once great franchise, and shame on Sam Mendes for saying on to this.
At least he did 1917, so
yeah. So yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah.
Why you're not excited for No Time to Die?
Yeah, this next movie, No Time for This Franchise to Die, has been delayed so many times that it's not even funny. So many director switching, so many rewrites to try to get right the wrongs of the past. And for what? For being the final Daniel Craig Bond film, it doesn't look that much better than the last one. It doesn't look like it would be the next Skyfall that they seem to be hoping it to be. And you know what? I'm just not interested anymore. I am officially done with this Dead as a Doornail franchise. The only way I will ever see it in theaters is if it has the same Rotten Tomatoes score as the Casino Royale and Skyfall, and the critics are calling it like a masterpiece of cinema. Otherwise, I'll just wait until it's free on Amazon Prime or something to actually watch it.
All right. I'm not gonna lie. The nickname you came up with for No Time to Die actually got a kick out of me.
Yeah. All right. Next discussion we have here is has something to do with a more recent event. The recent DC fandom on that last Saturday.
Oh yeah, and there's one teaser they released that became my most anticipated film of 2021.
Yeah, we'll get to that. First, so the first trailer they showed was a new trailer for Wonder Woman 1984. I'm not really going to say much about it since I was already excited for it then, and I'm still excited for it now. Even though the CGI on Cheetah is a bit iffy, I'm sure it's not as bad as say Cats or something, but I'm sure they'll fix up the CGI by the time it heads to theaters. So this next trailer, Black Adam, I'm not going to say much since all they did was show some concept art and confirm that The Rock is playing Black Adam, so I'm just going to move on. We got the title for the new Shazam movie, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Enough said.
Right.
The next trailer is the next trailer I'm going to discuss is James Gunn's sequel, The Suicide Squad. And oh boy, talk about a pretty big cast. I mean,
yeah.
You got. Hold on, let me just pull up the cast list for a second.
I'm trying to pull up the thing where we just mentioned the DC fandom.
I mean, talk about a pretty big cast. I mean, you got Margot Robbie back as Harley Quinn. You got Idris Elba. You got John Cena. Peter Capaldi. You got Viola Davis, Jai Courtney, Pete Davidson, Alice Braga, Taika Waititi, Michael Rooker, Nathan Fillion, and that's just naming just a few. And the trailers, and it's not exactly a trailer; it's more like B-roll footage. It makes it look like it's going to be what the original Suicide Squad wanted to be, but done way better.
Yeah, I really hope it's better than the last one.
And then the next two trailers came and blew me away. So the first trailer I'm going to discuss is a movie many people, including myself, have been clamoring for ever since the release of You Know What. And the fact that it's actually confirmed and being confirmed to actually be released next year, it's just mind-boggling to think that Warner Bros. Actually listens to the fans. Justice League: The Snyder Cut.
I saw the trailer for that, and I was really, really impressed with what they showed.
And seeing the trailer, you can tell that it's going to be an entirely different movie than Justice League that we got in 2017. I mean, with all these characters, the color palette, Black Suit Superman, Darkseid.
Yeah.
And the fact that they played and the fact that they played Hallelujah through the entire trailer, that's just the icing on the cake.
That was amazing.
And to think that this would have been my most anticipated movie of 2021.
Nice.
At least it would be if Matt Reeves didn't step in and say, hey, I'm going to let you finish, but I got this trailer that's going to blow you away even more.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
I mean, okay. So much like Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck before him, Robert Pattinson's casting has been has been debated on and discussed on how poor it is. But I was one of the actual few people who was like, you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he'll deliver a performance that's actually worthy. And boy, did he shut us all up. Matt Reeves, the Batman.
The Batman. This just became my most anticipated film of 2021.
So, the trailer looks like it's gonna take the Batman Arkham Asylum games and take those cutscenes and put them onto the big screen. And there's this mystery going around, this Zodiac-like mystery that Batman has solved. It just makes it. It's just like they're finally attempting to bring the world's greatest detective aspect of Batman and finally bring it onto the big screen. So yeah, you've all pretty much seen the trailer by now. You know why it's gonna be great, and you know why it's both Nixon and I's most anticipated movie of next year.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see it. I cannot wait to see how they're going to do with this.
So okay, so my final discussion is going to be a bit of a controversial opinion of mine. I'm going to tell you all why I think that physical media isn't going to and shouldn't die.
Yeah.
And I know that most people have moved on to streaming services and renting movies digitally by now. And to be fair, it's 10 times more convenient and cost effective. But I've laid down some advantages of still buying Blu-rays and DVDs instead of just streaming them online.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm still a physical media collector, so.
All right, so my first thing I have to address, having the luxury of watching a movie as many times as you want.
Yeah, really.
Especially regarding the fact that companies like Netflix and Amazon Prime can just take movies off the website, and you won't you will no longer be able to access it. I mean, you know what happened to that Simpsons episode with Michael Jackson a couple of years ago?
Yeah. Don't even get me started on the controversy over it.
Okay, next up, I got to discuss better overall cost. Now I know that digital renting isn't like the most isn't the most expensive thing in the world, but still, if you rent a movie, you still have to pay a fee of like $2 to $5 for 48 hours, and $15 to own forever. But with Blu-ray, you'll you only have to pay like $5 to $25 per Blu-ray, plus a bonus digital code in most modern Blu-ray. So that's a bigger plus right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Internet reliability. Unlike with streaming, where you have to rely on a good internet connection to watch a movie you want, with the Blu-rays, you can just pop the disc in and press play and enjoy the cinematic experience with no interruptions.
Absolutely.
Next up, organization. What I mean by it is you can sort your movies in any way you want. Like you can sort them alphabetically, you can sort them by genre, you can even sort out the more adult-oriented movies from kids' movies if you ever have kids in the future.
Yeah.
Next up, the art of the Blu-ray cover. There are some. Now I know that there are some Blu-rays that just copy and paste the poster onto it and call it a day, but there are some instances where you can find a pretty beautiful Blu-ray cover where you can tell that they put their all into it. Like let me give you an example. Like you see this Bonnie and Clyde Blu-ray I mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
It's not only a movie, it's a digibook. Like you can read stuff about it in its case.
It's a very, very well made case.
And let me get another one. The Seven Samurai. Like you know that Criterion Collection always gives it their all with their bonus features and packaging.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's just a couple examples right there. Okay, next thing I want to discuss is reselling DVDs and Blu-rays for a quick paycheck. Unlike with digital releases where it's yours forever and no one else, with DVDs and Blu-rays, you can resell them on like eBay and get a quick buck to buy even more movies and build up your collection. And the final thing I want to say about the advantages of owning Blu-rays and DVDs, that's the satisfaction of seeing your Blu-ray collection on your shelf.
Yeah, really.
May I say more?
I'm hearing an echo.
Really?
Yeah. I'm really hearing an echo.
Oh, well. Well, we're pretty much done with all our topics now, so let's just wrap this up.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Would you like to say your final thoughts before I say mine?
So yeah, thank you all for joining into another great episode of the FilmBrony Podcast. I hope to see you all next time whenever we get to it, and keep the film industry safe.
Absolutely. And thank you guys so much for watching the next episode, the 8th episode of the FilmBrony Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to FilmBrony under his Boy Thunder Productions YouTube account to give him the love he absolutely deserves. The link will be in the description. And until next time, peace out and stay safe, guys. See you later.